This is day 302 of Zohar Pshat, and we're on Daf Lev Gimel Amud Beis. Fascinating Zohar today. This is 6 lines to the bottom. The end of the 6th line from the bottom. Ksiv says in Yoshua, "Inei Aron Bris Hashem Adon Kol Haaretz." This is the Aron of the covenant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the master of the entire earth. Hinei Aron. This is behold the Aron. Das Baklaya de Lo Nahara is a lens which is not illuminated. In other words, there's a barrier here. The Aron is itself something which spreads Kedusha, but it's a barrier in front of the Bris, which is inside the Aron. So it's an Aspaklai which is not Nahara. Bris, which is inside, which is Luchos, Aspaklai is Nahara, that is a lens which is clear, which illuminates, which provides a light. Hinei Aron, similarly, Hinei Aron Dahi Moros, those are the Moros, meaning Choser, meaning that they are obscured. They're sometimes altogether missing, and they depend on light from elsewhere. Aron Tebusa, the Aron is a box. La la b'gabe Torah B'Ksav, which the Torah B'Ksav goes. In other words, the Torah B'Ksav, even though it's really the Aseres HaDibros, which go inside the Aron in the Beis HaMikdash, but an Aron in a Beis HaKnesses, in a shul, actually has is the place where the Torah B'Ksav goes. So the Aron in the Beis HaKnesses is also an Aspaklaria Zelo Meira, which the Lo Nara, which contains the Torah B'Ksav, which is the Aspaklaria the Nara. So there is the Aron is what we regard as focal. So the shul is actually itself just a cover for what's deep inside. And one has to understand that many things in this world where the cover is an Aspaklai Lo Nahara for the thing which is inside, which is the Aspaklai Nahara. Habris, similarly Habris, Dashimsha Denoyer, that's the sun which illuminates. That's through the Ma'oros which are Chaser comes the light from the Shimsha, right? Because the light of the Ma'oros which are Chaser, and particularly the moon, which was simply referenced, is reflected light. There's the Bris, which is the sun which illuminates law. The Bris Bahadei, and it's a Bris with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with us. I'm not sure exactly what it's referring to, but it's a Bris. Aron HaBris Daika Adon Kol Haaretz. It says Aron HaBris specifically belongs to Adon Kol Haaretz. HaBris to Adon Kol Haaretz. The Bris is the Adon Kol Haaretz. In other words, the master of the world is not the Aron itself. The Aron itself is the way we relate to it, but the Bris is the master of the world, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol's connection with the earth. Adon, and since this Aron represents the Adon, it's not, even though it's not the Adon, even though it sounds like Adon, but begin Shimsha Noyla. It's because of the sun which illuminates to it. The Noyla Amma, and it illuminates the entire world. So the Aron itself is illuminated by the Bris inside it, like the sun illuminates the moon. So there is this idea that the Aron, even though it's a cover, it covers up, it of itself is suffused with the light which goes to the Bris inside it. And it illuminates the entire world. So therefore it's called Aron Bris. The Aron which is a Bris, and of Adon called Haaretz. Of Aron Bris Adon Kol Haaretz, because the Aron is the way in which we can relate to the Bris Kol Haaretz. Now, presumably the Aron in had the Aron not covered the Luchos would have been very, very devastating to us because we can't relate them directly, indirectly. So too in the Beis HaKnesses, we don't relate the Torah B'Ksav directly. Relates in that. I mean, of course, it's all metaphor, but the idea is that the Torah B'Ksav has an Aron, has a casing, has something which allows it to be operated in this world. Sometimes conceals, sometimes reveals. It's the tool by which we can seize on. And I'm not sure I like the marshal of the Aron so great. So as being more precise, I would kind of like to use actually the mantle the cover which we cover the Sefer Torah, whether it's the cloth fabric cover of Ashkenaz or the wooden or metal cover of Sfard, but it's like that. I think is the Aron with which we cover the Sefer, by which we are able to grasp the Sefer, and we know that the halacha is not allowed to grasp the Sefer itself directly, not allowed to touch it directly. You're not allowed to touch indirectly because the Sefer itself is very powerful. We have to have a spaklai, the low narrow for us to grab onto. But this is the way it's Noel Chalamba. Hach Iskare, that's what it's called. Aron Bris, Adon Kolaretz. Uminei Nokta Shma, and from there the name is taken. Biskari Hai Aron, this Aron is called Adon. Aron is called Adon. Berazah the Aleph Dal Nun Yud. The secret of the name of Aleph Dal Nun Yud. In other words, the Aron represents the Andus of Hashem. That's why, the Aron killed the Plishtim and the Aron killed Uzziah. Aron itself is very powerful. It's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu is reflecting this world as Adnus, as mastery of this world. Come on, like it says, and this is evidently Tosefta somewhere. Tosefta by Zohar, I guess. Not Tosefta necessarily of the regular Tosefta. Come on, Amir. Tzaddik v'tzedek. Just like the tzaddik and tzedek are related. Kain Adon Adokoi. Wow. Just like the tzaddik represents tzedek in this world, tzaddik represents justice. So the Adon, the Adon is the reflection of Aleph Dal Nun Yud. Right? And this Adon, obviously, I don't know exactly how, but somehow the Zohar is relating Adon to Aron, David Al-Tayyim, because it's practically the same word. So there's some connection here. So somehow this Aron is Adon, is the outer reflection of Aleph Dal Nun Yud. So it's like Tzaddik reflects the Tzedek, which is intrinsic to him. Okay, that's a very powerful Zohar, but I think that we'll stop here for today.